Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Grace Estes. So, I don't really know what happened, but I went to start editing and I realized that the entire intro to my video got deleted somehow magically. So basically all I said was sorry that I look like an egg with my hair, but I guess that's trendy right now because an egg has the #1 most liked picture on Instagram now. 2, I overlined my lips and I look like a clown, so I failed beauty gurus and Kylie Jenner everywhere. So that too, I think it picked up where I said the third thing. So you'll see me then. And third, my camera is crooked and just decided to turn off on me because I'm ugly or something. It's just trying to tell me something. But today I'm going to be telling you the story time of the time I almost died in a foreign country. I didn't just almost die. I was in a foreign country. So kind of made it like 10 times scarier. But we'll just dive in. It's either Grenada or Granada. I say it wrong every single time because we were saying it wrong until we got there and the natives were telling us like, oh, you're saying it wrong. But Grenada, I think it's Grenada. Grenada. It's the small tiny island. It's the tropical island that there is a sandals resort on. So we were in Grenada and we were at the sandals resort. By we, I mean my boyfriend, me, my boyfriend's brother, his now fiance, and his parents. So we were all there just on vacation. Well, I'm allergic to shellfish, which isn't the best combo when you're on like a teeny tiny little island. I mean, I made it work, you know, like there's plenty of other food besides fish that come in shells or live in shells. Every restaurant we were going to, we had to tell them like, hey, like she's allergic to shellfish. Well, most importantly, we went to a restaurant that's like hibachi restaurant. If you don't know what that is, it's like where they like cook stuff in front of you. And every single time we go to a hibachi restaurant, my boyfriend's family always orders shellfish. So the first thing we did whenever we walked in, we were like, hey, she's allergic to shellfish. Like, hey, I'm allergic to shellfish. I can't have it at all. I can't touch. Can't be cooked on the same place. Like my food's gonna have to be made at the back. And they're like, okay, yeah, no problem. We deal with this all the time. No issue whatsoever. You'll be A-okay. I was like, okay, I see you. I'm about to get some good hibachi in here. No, not at all. I mean, I did get good hibachi, but like kind of freaking out the entire time. So when we first sat down, there was these like trays that were probably like that big and they were divided into 4s, so 4 sections, and each section had its own sauce. So we sat down and my boyfriend's mom was like, oh, let's try our sauces, and so everyone was like, yeah, okay. We took our chopsticks out and we dipped them in each of the sauces and like licked the sauce on the end of our chopstick, and we all just tried like just a dot of each of the sauces, you know, and they were good. And then like maybe not even a minute, not even like 60 seconds after we did that, a waitress comes by and she looks at me and she says, hey, you can't eat that sauce. And she pointed to one of the sauces. I said, honey, what do you mean I can't eat that sauce? And she was like, yeah, that sauce, that has shellfish in it. I was like, okay, well, I just ate some of it like not even a minute ago. And she was like, oh, okay, let me just go ask someone to make sure. And I was like, okay. Nothing had happened yet. I was still fine. So she went to ask another waitress. I don't know who she asked, but she came back. She's like, oh, you can't eat the sauce. I was like, I can? You just told me I couldn't. She's like, no, you can't eat the sauce. You're fine. I was like, okay, well then why couldn't I eat it a second ago? She was like, oh, because there's fish in it, but it's not shellfish. I was like, right, I'm not eating that sauce. So basically, she tells me I can't eat it, but I had already eaten like literally a dot. Literally the tiniest minuscule. So everyone I'm eating with is like, oh, you're fine. You're fine. Like, you'll be A-okay. Nothing's gonna happen to you. It was a dot. So we eat our whole meal. I'm still fine. We have been drinking a little bit all day and night and through dinner and then after dinner, and I'm still fine. And then so finally, my boyfriend and I decide to go back to our hotel room. And we're sitting in bed and like we're both a little drunk, you know, we're watching TV or whatnot. And all of a sudden I just start itching. Like my stomach's itching, my arms are itching, my legs are itching. Everything on me is just itching. And not like just like, oh, I got an itch. Like I couldn't stop itching. Like I was scratching the crap out of my skin and my boyfriend was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I don't know, I'm fine. Just keep giggling. Don't worry about it. And so basically I just tried to ignore it because I didn't want to be a nuisance or anything. And I kept just saying like, oh, I'm fine, don't worry, I'm fine. And eventually it got so bad that he was like, okay, like if you're not fine, like do something about it. And so he told me, he's like, go get in the shower. I was like, okay, I'll go get in the shower. And so before I even got in the shower, I like wouldn't even like undress. Like I was just scratching my entire body, and he comes in there, he's like, what are you doing? And I pretended to like do something with my hair. I was like, oh yeah. And I was scratching my arm behind my head while messing with my hair, just scratching my arm. And he was like, let me see your arm. I was like, no, it's fine. He's like, let me see your arm. I was like, no, I'm good, don't worry about me, I'll be fine. And he finally like rips my arm from me, and my wrist is now bleeding. I have scratched it so badly that it's just bleeding. He was like, oh my gosh, we are taking you somewhere right now. I was like, okay, I'm fine. And I'm just scratching my entire body. My entire body has hives all over it. Like it is hurting. I'm physically in pain from all the scratching I'm doing. Like my arm's freaking bleeding. I scratched it so hard. So we're trying to find help, and we're running from our hotel room to the front desk to like ask for help because it's really late at night. Like everyone was asleep. I didn't want him to wake his parents up and like be a big ordeal, even though I was dying. We ran into his parents' butler on the way to the front desk. We're talking to him for a long time. We're like, hey, like, what do we do? Like, she's dying. Like, she's having an allergic reaction. Like, we don't know what to do. She doesn't have an EpiPen or anything. Like, that's my boyfriend talking to the butler. And he was like, okay, you need to go to the medical center, like the medical center here. And so we go to the front desk, or he takes us to the front desk and asks for them to golf cart us up. And the golf carts were like all busy or something. So like he's running us to the medical center, and I'm just like my boyfriend's holding my arm, dragging me while I'm just scratching myself. And he's like, come on. I'm like, no, I can't stop. And so we finally get to the medical center, and we walk in, and this is not a medical center. This is literally a room, like a closet-sized room with one nurse, and that's it. Like nothing. And she didn't speak the best English. When I'm sitting there alone, my boyfriend's like, okay, I'm gonna go get my parents. So he runs to go wake up his parents, and he's like freaking out, and I'm just sitting there trying to stay calm, like trying to breathe, trying to not scratch myself to death. And she's like sitting there telling me like, stop scratching, stop scratching. I was like, I can't, that's why we're here. I can't stop scratching. So she goes to the medical supplies area, like a filing cabinet thing, and starts looking at everything and like doing her finger like this, and she's saying like different medicine names out loud like 10 times looking for it. And then she picks up something and she shows it to me, and she asked me to read it to her. And I was like, you want me to read this to you? And she's like, yeah, what does this say? And I was like, I don't remember what it says now, but I had to read it to her. And like she was asking me questions like what things were in English, and I was like trying to translate like while I was scratching. She's like, okay, so you're gonna need to take this something. And so she finally takes me into this back room, and then she calls a doctor from the hospital. So they had to call a doctor from a hospital on the island, and he had to come from the hospital to the resort. And he was on call that night, so he wasn't actually working at the hospital. So back to the story. The doctor wasn't actually at the hospital. He was on call that night, so they had to call him in. So while the doctor was coming in from the hospital, I'm laying on the bed, and there is a bed in like the tiny closet sterile room place. And the lady, the nurse, she put a oxygen measure clamp thing on my finger, and I had really long acrylics on, like acrylics like these. But she had it on my finger, and she kept saying like, oh, your oxygen level is dropping, like it's dropping so much, like I don't know how you're breathing right now. And I was like, what? And so of course I'm like itching all over, scratching myself to death, just trying to breathe, like just and I was completely fine. Like I hadn't cried or anything. Like I didn't really suspect it being such a big deal until my boyfriend and his dad walked in. Now when they walked in, I just instantly just started bawling because I saw his dad's face, and it just kind of, there was an adult there, and it made me feel like, oh my gosh. And I was like, can I call my mom, please? Like, can I talk to my mom? Like, I just want to tell my mom his dad was like, no, don't call your mom. You're just gonna worry her. Like, we'll tell her tomorrow. I was like, okay, all right, I'll be fine. I thought I was dying in a foreign country. Like, this woman barely spoke English. She's telling me my oxygen's dropping like crazy. They had to call in a doctor. I'm laying there. She's telling me my oxygen's dropping. I'm crying because I see his dad. I'm just laying there thinking, I'm dead. This is over with. Like, I'm done for. Like, I'm dying. That's it. Like, this is my life. Like, I had a nice life. Like, I died in Grenada. Like, it was a really good time. I enjoyed myself at Sandals, and now I'm just gonna be a news report. Basically, as I'm laying there realizing that I am dying, on the ceiling of this sterile room is a freaking spider. There's a giant spider, and there's like webs in the corner, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna die. And there was like a half-used IV bag in the corner too that I noticed, and I was like, yep, yeah, this is going good. Just like breathing in oxygen, like just having a panic attack on top of an allergic reaction. Like, it just wasn't the best moment of my life. And so eventually I'm laying there. I am starting to feel like I can breathe. Not that I ever like felt like I couldn't, but this woman was telling me like, you're losing so much oxygen. So I was like, okay, I'm suffocating. I was starting to like not itch anymore. I was kind of feeling kind of like loopy from whatever the heck they gave me. So the doctor finally comes in, and this man, I kid you not, this island man, he was so nice, but he walks in wearing, just wait for it, lion slippers. This man was wearing lion slippers. The man who saved my life was wearing freaking fuzzy lion slippers. I literally like looked over, I was like, this is the man who's gonna save me. Great. I didn't really have anywhere to judge because he was a great doctor. Like, he had a medical degree. Like, I don't have a medical degree, obviously. Like, I graduated high school a year early and then did nothing with my life. I dropped out of college after a year. So I'm not one to judge a man who has a full medical degree. So he comes in here and he's like taking over, and the nurse is trying to tell him what she's done, and he obviously knows 1,000 times more than she does because she barely knows English, didn't really even know what she was giving me. It's almost like she was a student and he was the teacher and I was like the project. And so she was explaining what she did to me, and he was like, okay, now you want to know what you did wrong? And I'm sitting there like, what she did wrong? What you mean what she did wrong? Am I really gonna die right now? And she's like, yeah, like, what did I do? And he was like, you know why her oxygen is so low? And she was like, because she's losing oxygen because she's having an allergic reaction. He was like, no, she's not losing oxygen. Like, she has enough oxygen. Her acrylic nail is blocking the oxygen clipper monitor thing. So then the man was like, okay, so where do we put it since she has those acrylic nails on? And she was like, her toes. Like, oh, you don't want to see my crusty toes. So they had to take my nail polish off one of my toes, and they literally sat there for like 30 minutes trying to get the nail polish off of my toe. But I then found out that like I wasn't suffocating. Obviously I should have known that because I didn't feel myself suffocating, and like I had oxygen on, and so like I was good. But the number she was quoting, I told my boyfriend's mom the next morning, and she goes, oh sweetie, if those were your actual numbers, you would have been dead. And I was like, come again? Basically, at the end of it, he finally got everything going. They realized my oxygen was great. I stopped itching. Everything was great. I gave myself a lot of bruises and cuts from scratching so much all over my body. But I survived, and they gave me steroids that I had to take for a week, and we were only in Grenada for the next couple of days, and they weren't in like a bottle. They didn't have my name or anything. They were just like unmarked pills in an unmarked baggie. And he told me I had to take them for a week, like a week of steroids. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going back to America, and they're like kind of crazy in customs, so I'm just supposed to go back with these like unmarked pills. And they were like, yeah, you should be fine. I was like, okay, great. That's like the time I almost died in a foreign country. Like and subscribe because I'm not dead yet. Anyways, at least. And click that little bell for notifications because I'm gonna start posting more. But I love you guys. Bye.